Weather. Nothing personal word of the day. It's Wednesday, May 10th, 2023. We're live on the Nothing Personal with David Samson YouTube channel every day at 8 a.m. And I'm cold. I'm hot. Low energy. I have no way that this can be a good show. I'm throwing out the rundown, Coca, and I'm just going to talk to you about something that's really on my mind. Something a little different. And it's all based on the fact that at the moment, I'm feeling as though when I look outside, I say to myself, I can't do a good show. It's hot out. I can't do a good show. I'm cold. There's humidity. What the hell's going on here? It is not often that I'm going to refer to a take by someone who's in the same business I am in, and there is no question that Jalen Rose and Mike Greenberg are established and fantastic people on the air. Sometimes they have takes I agree with. Sometimes they have takes I don't agree with. I get it. But this one set me off. And the reason it set me off is it brought me back to the time of running a team where I would be looking for any reason why the team isn't doing what we thought it would do on a particular day, in a particular series, in a particular moment, a particular at-bat. We'd look for anything. And the reason we'd look for excuses is that when we have to talk to the owner or we have to fire someone, we need to have a reason. Here's why what we thought would happen didn't happen, and here's who we're going to blame. Because in our society, you can bet your bippy that we are finding someone to blame. Something goes wrong, there's someone to blame. It can't just be circumstances. It can't just be dumb luck. It can't just be a bad game. It can't just be it looks like there's a lid on the rim. No. It can't be a good pitching performance. It can't be the fact that you're tired, you've got issues at home. Doesn't matter. We are going to find an excuse and we're going to marinate. We're going to sit with it and then we're going to spread it like herpes. The Knicks are down 3-1 to the Heat, and it has not one damn thing to do with the weather in Miami. Let me tell you what players do when they come to Miami. Same thing they do when they go to Tampa. Same thing they do when they go to L.A. Same thing they do when they go to New York. Same thing they do when they go to Detroit, Cleveland, just not St. Louis. You know I love you, St. Louis. Come on, you know I do. They get there. Their bags are waiting for them. The bellmen take it up. Sometimes if you want your bag quickly, you take it from the luggage truck yourself. You go up to the hotel. You drop your bag. You turn right around. Boom, you go out. Meet a bunch of guys, or you meet your friends, or you meet your girlfriends, or you meet your girlfriend's friends. You go out, you eat, you dance, you talk, you drink, maybe toke. You have an itinerary, so you know what time you have to be up in the morning. Never early. You know what time you have to show up for the walkthrough, or show up for BP, or show up for stretching. It's all the itinerary. Here's the team bus. You don't take the team bus. You're playing at the Garden. You could take the team bus. I find it all to be very disheartening. The Knicks fly into Miami. They check into their hotel. They don't play well. And then we start hearing the reason they're not playing well is the weather. It's too humid. There's a geography issue. Well, having lived in Florida for 16 years, I can tell you there is no geography in Florida. Flat as a pancake. You want to run hills? Go to the dump. Find the Key Biscayne Bridge. Geography. How about the thunderstorms? How about the fact that visiting teams don't play well in Miami because before there was a roof, they were off their schedule because sometimes there was no BP. Oh, yeah, we were the best home team ever. The Marlins themselves would say, we can't get into a good routine. We need that roof. Well, that really worked moving into a roof. Everyone had the same routine, same time every day. No problem. Julius Randle, we did an entire segment yesterday that Randle said the Knicks got outworked. Maybe we don't want it bad enough. But now we have Knicks fans and people who love the Knicks who found a way more convenient excuse, which is the weather was bad. I guess that means now that the Heat are in New York for Game 5, and it's about 70 and sunny, which means it's beautiful weather compared to what it is in the humidity of Miami. Therefore, the Heat are going to be El Fuego. It could be En Fuego. It's just Fuego. They're going to be on fire. Total Springsteen moment. They're going to be comfortable. Maybe they are going to take a jog in Central Park. Maybe go on the carousel. Maybe get in the horse and buggy. put that dirty, disgusting blanket over them and take a romantic stroll at $19.99 a minute, and that's not for a 976 number, and they're going to go through the park, and by the time they get to the Garden, they're going to be so exhausted that they're going to have no chance of winning Game 5. Yeah, that's the ticket. And then when the Knicks don't win Game 5, then it can't be the weather, it can't be the geography, it can't be the fact that the Knicks had a hard time in the New York weather, which is hotter than normal or colder than normal. Who gives a crap? I don't know which one it is. But it didn't even stop there. I expected, if you're a New York fan and you are despondent because you should be down 3-1, but not because of the weather, you should be despondent because your team sucks. You don't even have a superstar. Jalen Brunson, top 10 Knick of all time. Whatever. There's not one go-to person. The Heat make shots, the Knicks don't. Who would you rather have? The team making the shots or the team missing the shots? Doesn't matter where you play anymore in the NBA. It's not about home team advantage, home court advantage. It's about who makes the most shots. Period. It's not like anyone's putting anyone on their ass the way they did in the 90s. Pat Riley must watch this game and say, what a bunch of wusses. Everybody's so soft. Oh, but don't worry, KD will do a forearm shiver. Niccolo will hug it out with Ishbia. I'm just tired of it all. Greenberg then said, here's the plan. The Knicks lost because of the weather. And you know what else? If I'm running the Lakers, I'm resting everyone for Game 5 against the Warriors because we have a 3-1 lead. Oh, my God. You're a fan. You're not an executive. I used to be a fan. Then I was an executive. And then I let the fandom creep in. And I scurried up to Jack McKee and I said, hey, why don't we rest our ace in the World Series and hold him out? And he said, do you want to win, Sparky, you idiot? And I said, you're right, Skip, whatever you want to do. Didn't quite go like that. Josh Beckett pitches. We got ourselves a ring. But I think that Phil Jackson called up Jeannie Buss from his motorcycle and said, hey, Jeannie, I got a great idea here. I think that we should play nobody in Game 5. Give him the game because I want to be ready for Game 7 back in L.A. The Lakers want to close the series just like the Heat want to close the series. You want to play as few games as possible, and not because you've rested or you're going to put LeBron on a minutes restriction. That's the ticket. That's what we're going to do. We're going to have LeBron play 12 minutes. We'll play him the first quarter. We'll do a Luka end of regular season deal. We'll play him the first quarter +1. We'll sit everybody else. We'll miss the playoffs and then get into the lottery, not actually get the lottery, and hopefully lose our draft pick anyway. When the Lakers tip off tonight and you're watching, mark my words. I'm not even making it a wait to see because it's so damn stupid. Anthony Davis, LeBron James, each will have 35 minutes plus. Guaranteed. Even if it's a blowout. Because if you have a chance to win, you try to win. Immediately. I guess you could just bet the Warriors. And they may even be my pick of the day. But not because the Warriors are going to be sitting all their stars. It's because the Warriors are at home and they're going to win Game 5. But you don't tank it. Just ponder me this before we move on to the next crazy excuse. When you fail, why do you make an excuse? Why can't you just stand up and take it like a man? Take it like a woman. Take it like you don't know your gender. God, it makes the show longer having to go through all that. But anyway, why can't you just stand up and say, you know what? We got beaten by the better team. They were better than we were today. We didn't play well. We're going to play better tomorrow. It was one of those days. Nah, the weather was bad. All right. God, Met fans. Coca, is this from you? Did you finally submit your first question? I'm just curious. Play me some music.
I want to talk to Samson.
So you want to talk to Samson. Go watch Half Baked. So many of you get on Twitter at David P. Samson and talk to me about your experience watching Half Baked. It's a movie, and it's way better to be baked while watching it. But if you're only half baked, you'll still find it twice as funny as many movies where you're not baked at all, and they think that you should be, or you're not, or they're not funny. In there, there's a character named Samson. So ask me a question. Is this from you, Coca? I actually never asked you that during our prep. Hey, David. That's not how you talk, actually, so this can't be you. Are you willing to say that the Scherzer signing is a bust? We cannot count on him. Are the Mets in trouble? For all the Mets fans out there, I have a public service announcement, and we'll record it. 3, 6, 9. The New York Mets and their new owner, Steve Cohen, have decided they were going to spend the most money for a team in the history of baseball. As part of spending that money, they agreed to bring on 2 octogenarian pitchers and pay them $40+ million in the hope that they'd get 30 starts each. Deep inside the bowels of Citi Field, right next to the chop shops, there was a private meeting between Steve Cohen and baseball executives who don't work yet for the New York Mets, where it was told to Steve Cohen that there was zero chance that the combination of Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander would give him 62 to 66 starts. But then Steve Cohen said, no problem, they're going to be rested for October. And then he was told, but wait a minute, you've got to get to October. And then he said, we've got the highest payroll, of course we're going to get to October. Here we are on May 10th, and the New York Mets are a floundering 500 organization with starters, hitters, various people playing terribly if they're playing at all. Max Scherzer, he of the offseason spent doing collective bargaining agreements. He of the offseason talking now about the pitch clock and how he's going to use it to his advantage, of how it can be taken advantage of. By the way, side note, Coca, go on Twitter. There's an entire string. The new collective bargaining agreement, which was agreed to a while ago, is now officially available for public. So you can read all the provisions that were all leaked that we all know about and all the different things that Max Scherzer did not want because he voted against it. All the player reps voted for it, but all Boris's people voted against it. And there's all things in there about international games and how pre-arbitration pool money gets split and who makes what money, when, where, and how. Do you know what's not in there? A salary cap. You know what's not in there? A maximum number of years for a contract. So to all the players who think they got beaten again by the owners, news alert, you did just fine. Take a look at the amount of money being wasted left and right on your players. But don't worry, we've got agents who say, hey, these are the best signings ever. Scott Boras, if you tell me that Michael Conforto is one of the best free agent signings and the San Francisco Giants got a steal at $36 million over 2 years when no one would sign him because he was so hurt, and then he comes back and the Giants were desperate because they didn't get Judge, they didn't get Carlos Correa, so Boras said, no problem, you don't want my guy Correa? Let me give you my guy Conforto. Yes! We got a great outfielder. The Mets fans were, we lost Conforto. He sucks. Absolute waste of money that could cost Gabe Kapler's job, and it should really cost Farhan his job. Anyone who gets manipulated by Boras should lose his job. I'm talking to you over there in Minnesota, too. How's Correa doing? Other than telling you it's okay to boo. It's all right to boo. Booing gets the sad out of you. It's all right to boo. I promise I'll do better. That's what players do come May when they're hitting under 200. I got to do better. I'm going to do better. Max Scherzer. Ooh, my neck. All right. Neck spasms. Those hurt. I agree. I've had neck spasms in training for races. And next, I've had the calf thing. Have you ever had that? The Achilles thing, the foot thing, when it cramps up so much that you can't run for 4 days? If you're a runner, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When your muscle spasms, it becomes hard as a rock. You scream in pain. You can't do anything about it. You try to rub it out. You're rolling around. Your significant other is saying, what's wrong? What can I do? Should I call 911? Are you going to be okay? Just shh. Okay. It's gone. Oh, my God. I can't stand on my leg. All right. Scherzer's got a neck spasm. That's fine. How's he been for the Mets so far? Everyone happy with the $43 million per year? It's been great. I think he did well last year when he needed to. I can't remember. He may have started the wild card game in the Padres. I think he got his butt kicked. He had a chance to win the division for the Mets. I think he lost to the Braves or something when he had a chance to win the division last year, and they could have avoided all that noise. But you know what? Let's not judge Max because the last contract with the Nationals was so good, one of the few long-term deals that actually worked. Let's not judge him because why wouldn't you take $43 million a year for 2 years with an option for a third? Of course you would. How about blaming Steve Cohn? Why would you blame Steve Cohn? He's an owner spending money. It's a win-win. I don't want to hear one Mets fan complain. Call me right now, Scott. Get to me in my ear, Coca. I want to hear right now. You're complaining about what? That you have an owner who spends? You can't complain about the owners who don't. Complain that your players are too old, making too much money? You want your players to make more money. It's what you dream about. I want players to make more money in the minor leagues, in the major leagues, everywhere. My player's hitting 200. He'll get better. Is the Scherzer signing a bust? Yeah, of course it is. $43 million. You better be getting 30 starts. He's been fine this year, though. He's actually been an ace. He is the number one starter. I mean, clearly he's one of the few aces in baseball. It's hard not to be an ace. Through 5 starts, I think his ERA is like 5.5. I think he's gone under 6 innings 4 out of his 5 starts. That's real ace material. So are you looking at it as a bust? Yeah. I agree that you can't count on him. Are the Mets in trouble, you ask? Coca? Or Scott? Or the myriad other Mets fans out there? You're goddamn right they are. That was the worst Jack Nicholson imitation maybe ever. Code Red. The Mets are a code brown. They're crap. All right, Coco, where are we traveling to? Where do you want to go? You know what? The NBA and MLB, the schedule comes out. MLB does it very in a funny way. It just comes out through a magnet at the end of the season. They release it, and they want to make a big deal. It's yet another way that everybody's jealous of the NFL. I would love to know why you all are so into the NFL schedule release. So much so that it's like a 4-day event when everyone's doing watch parties to see who's playing when, what, who, where, and how. But they leak out some stuff. They purposely announce some stuff to drag it out. Let's see who's playing internationally. The Jaguars this year have to play back-to-back weeks in London. Back-to-back weeks in London. Is that the beginning of a European division? No. Is that a way to get players to go to London because you get them to stay 2 weeks, give them a bye the week after, which hasn't been announced, which I promise you is going to happen. The Jaguars then get to adjust to London time, which gives them an advantage in game 2, which is against the Bills, as opposed to the Jaguars always saying to the league, we always go there because we agreed we go there, but we're always at a disadvantage because we're always tired as heck. You don't know how tough it is to be on those sleepers and get to London and be exhausted. And then when we come back, it's like a day of jet lag per an hour time zone. So it takes us 5 days, sometimes 6 days, maybe 4. I'm jealous. It's not, I don't love being jealous. It's not that. I think what it is that baseball tries so hard in so many different ways to be the NFL, to get the amount of interest that there is in the NFL. And then the NFL just keeps sticking its thumb right on baseball's temple. We're going to do a 4-day schedule release. Anybody want to go to Frankfurt? Any Dolphins fans out there? Frankfurt, Germany. I think that's where Rammstein is. I'm absolutely having a moment. In 2011, I went to visit troops. I went to Bahrain. I went to Qatar. And I went to Frankfurt, Germany to visit soldiers because when soldiers get hurt in battle or overseas, they have to go to Rammstein, which is a hospital in Frankfurt, I believe. Coca, I may absolutely have it wrong, but I don't think I do. We visited a guy who he had just stepped on a mine. First of all, for anyone who's ever served, thank you. I don't like just waiting for Veterans Day because I am one of the great leechers of all time, right? I don't do anything to put my own life in jeopardy, and I take advantage of the fact that you all do. And I love the freedom I have to stand up and leave other than from 8 to 8:45 a.m. 5 days a week. Other than that, I can do anything I want whenever I want because of what you do. So if you do go to the Frankfurt game and you're in Miami, please make sure you make it over to Rammstein. All right. I don't want to talk NFL schedule anymore. I really don't. I mean, yes, there's a New Year's Eve game. Big whoop. Bengals Chiefs. Fine. Yes, it's exciting. Whatever. I'm over it. Talk to me about opening day. next year? How about the London games? That's where we should go, Coca. I think the Mets are playing in London next year. Forget going NFL, Frankfurt, or Tottenham. You've already been there. You've been to London too, but let's go to London and do a game there. Would you do that, Coca? We could do a show right from London. I think that'd be amazing. The only problem is we'd have to do it in the middle of the day because 8 a.m. here is either noon or 1 p.m. in London. So we'd have to leave a pub, like wipe the fish and chip sauce off our mouth and do a show. All right, we have way too much to get to. So I'm going to do an early break. And I got to talk about what's going on in Vegas because there's always something going on in Vegas. And then we're going to review a movie about the Knicks where I was watching a movie and I had a very funny moment that is a total look at me, Louie, total flex moment. But I think it may make you smile. And if not, it makes me smile. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Nothing Personal. It's David Samson and Matt Coca. Please rate, review, tell your friends about us. We're growing. We are growing, and we're not stopping. Wait to see when I tell you something's going to happen. If it does, great. If it doesn't, great. But we take responsibility. As opposed to all the takes about weather and whether or not there's going to be a problem with the weather, whether or not our picks are right or wrong. We go over picks. We tell you when we win, when we lose, when we predict things that come true and when they don't. Max Scherzer, I'm going to give you an official wait to see on Maxie Boy. He's not going on the IL for this neck spasm, don't worry. But he is missing his start. Scherzer does not go on IL for neck. All right, so someone told me I really appreciate the movie recommendations very, very much. I watch a movie every day or a documentary or a TV show. And I'd say 2 months ago or more, and I keep this list of stuff that you all recommend, and I get to it whenever I can. Someone told me to watch 38 at the Garden. And I hadn't watched it before. And I figured, well, the Knicks are in a series against the Heat. Let's watch 38 at the Garden. Guess how long 38 at the Garden is? Yeah, it's 38 minutes. Guess what it's about? Linsanity. For those of you who don't remember, 10 years ago, Jeremy Lin was an overnight sensation. There's no such thing as an overnight sensation. He worked his ass off to become an overnight sensation, as actors do, as people in business do. It's very difficult to make it like that overnight. And he had a bunch of good games. And then there was a game against Kobe Bryant and the Lakers at the Garden where Jeremy Lin put up a 38 spot. And this movie has interviews. One of the people interviewed is my good friend Pablo Torre. I didn't know this because, contrary to what you think, when we get together, we don't go through IMDb. This is what we did. This is what I did. This is what we're doing. We're talking about real stuff, like the fact that our hamstrings hurt, or the fact that we're having troubles at home, or the fact that we're having troubles at work, or the fact that we don't like the food we're eating, or the fact that we're frustrated with X, Y, Z, or what do you think about that? We didn't say, he never said to me, hey, make sure you watch 38 at the Garden. I'm in it. It's like me saying, hey, did you see the Three Stooges there, Pablo? Did you watch a future South Beach Sessions? God, that could have come out better. 4, 8, 69. Did you watch a future South Beach? Let me try that one last time. Did you watch a future South Beach Sessions? Don't remember why I was saying that. So Pablo's interviewed, as well as other comedians, news figures, journalists. What I did not focus on, talk about a blind spot, and that's why I wanted to bring it up today. When Jeremy Lin was doing what he was doing for the Knicks, and he ended up with a 9-year career, he ended up having an even greater game against the Raptors, and just it was a whole thing. Linsanity was a thing. I actually never focused on the fact that he was Asian. Because of who I am and my background and my blind spot to having the empathy or understanding of what people are thinking, how they're engaging with what's happening, where I try to predict or try to pretend and try to comment and try to empathize, but at the end of the day, I don't have the ability, as hard as I try. I didn't realize that what Jeremy Lin represented was the possibility for Asians to see people who look like they do in a place where they never get to see people who look like they do, where they get to see the sort of attention, someone grab New York in a way that's normally reserved for people who are white or on the court, people who are black. but not Asian. And it did not occur to me because I've read about and spoken to Pablo about the Asian hate crimes that have become so pervasive since COVID. And I've thought about it, just like I think about all the time that there's prejudice and all of the people who are intolerant. I did a segment yesterday about my not understanding people's lack of tolerance or people demanding that everybody looks the same or acts the same or speaks the same. But what I was unable to do until I watched 38 at the Garden, until it was spelled out for me like I'm a damn kindergartner, I was unable to understand the significance of that moment for Asian Americans. The belief that children had who were Asian to look at that and say, wow, I don't have to be typecast as a sex worker or as a smart person in school, a nerdy geek. I can be an athlete. I can be a star on center court in the greatest arena in the world. Such a powerful moment to have missed, and makes me feel like absolute crap for having missed it. And so what I'm trying to do, and this becomes a very difficult task, but I'm going to work on this because if I could do it, it'd be amazing. If I could find a way when I am witnessing something through my eyes to step outside myself and witness it through someone else's eyes and then confirm my hypothesis of what it may look like through their eyes, that would be an interesting level of conversation. Hey, am I seeing this the way you're seeing this? I do it with color right now, and I don't mean skin. I've always thought when I'm looking at something and I see black glasses, do other people look at these glasses and see them with the same lens I do? Do they see the same color that I do? And how do we know that our brains are engaging the same way, all looking at the same thing? There's really no way to know that, as a matter of fact, or at least I've never been convinced. But I'm going to ask more questions of people because I think it'd be fantastic for it not to take a documentary and not for it to take a decade for me to have the understanding of what that moment was, because I remember that moment and I had absolutely no idea what that moment was, because for me, it was a scrub having a moment and then it was done. Shame on me. It's called 38 at the Garden because he scored 38 at the Garden. He will not score 38 tonight at the Garden, and neither will Jalen Brunson. All right, what happened today? So I have a phone that has alerts. I've turned off a bunch of notifications because my therapist said to me that one of the things you can try about sleep is that you've got to do something with your phone and you've got to do something with notifications. I was getting notifications every time there was something on Twitter or something on Instagram. Everything, just in my breaking news alerts. For whatever reason, I have notifications in a way that I get the same breaking news from 5 different sources. It's the same damn thing. How many times do I need to read that there's a coronation going on and Prince Harry left early? I don't need 5 alerts. So I'm getting bang, bang, boom, bomb. So I turn the sound off. Fine. But then you've got the light from the phone when the notification comes out because the sort of phone goes from dark to light. So maybe turn the phone over. But then am I missing something? So I turn the phone back. But if you turn notifications off, then I have to press into the app to take a look at what I'm missing. It's an unbelievable addiction. I'm going to work on that. I just don't see an end in sight while I'm doing this show. Because it's not that I break news, so I don't have that fear. I don't need to break news. It's not my business. It's not my sweet spot. It's not nothing personal, but certainly thinking about breaking news and then thinking about putting shows together, which I do Sunday through Thursday. If you think about my schedule, we record Monday to Friday. So Sunday through Thursday, I'm preparing shows. Friday and Saturday, I don't, but guess what I'm doing Friday and Saturday and Sunday? I'm preparing Monday's show. So whenever I see something, I'll jot it down or I'll put it in the early rundown. Hey, I want to think about that topic or this topic. The Oakland A's have been lighting up my life Debbie Boone style because I am on a mountain alone in the great geography of Florida, schwitzing, yelling into the wind, not peeing into the wind because I won't do that. I would do anything for you, my loyal audience, but I won't do that. Oakland A's are moving to Vegas. No, they're not. Oakland A's buying land, 49 acres, moving to Vegas. No, they're not. Oakland A's are buying land and they're building a 1.5-mile bridge and getting $500 million in public dollars. What? No, they're not. Oakland A's are looking at other sites. Probably. Oakland A's have a deal for a new site. They're moving to Vegas. Huh? Just happened. Tropicana will always have a special place in my heart. It's where I went when I turned 21 and my grandpa took me there, Grandpa Harry. We had a family where we did 21st birthdays in Vegas, and when I turned 21, I went to the Tropicana. So I've been there many times, and I always love it. But they're going to demolish it. It's gone. Bally's is going to pay for the demolition, and then in its place will be a $1.5 billion stadium. Billion. And instead of $500 million in public money, don't worry, we have a brand new deal, Vegas. It's going to be perfect. We only need $395 million because we don't need the bridge because it's going to be on the Strip. But we're going to have to change our messaging just a tad. Because the last message was we didn't want to be on the Strip because we want to include all of the great people in Vegas. 70% of our fans are going to come from Henderson and Vegas and the suburbs, and they don't want to come to the Strip. They're not going to have to because we're going to be apart from the Strip. But don't worry, we'll have a pedestrian bridge so everyone from the Strip, 400,000 people a year, whatever, are going to walk across the bridge and go to the stadium. Timeout. Cut. Let's change our plan. Here's what we're going to say. 69% of fans are going to be from the Strip, but we're going to make it very easy for the other 31% to come. It's going to be their team, I promise you. They're going to have to change their math. They're going to have to redo all of their pro formas because this is their new thing, the Oakland A's. They're moving to the Strip. I think it's perfect. People want to walk down the Strip to walk to a ball game when it's 170 degrees outside because when it's weather like that, players are exhausted. And the Las Vegas A's are going to go 79-2 because when teams go to Vegas, they're going to be partying. They're going to be doing that. And then it's going to be HOTTT. They're going to be exhausted. The whole thing's absurd. It's absurd. The legislative session ends very, very soon, like in 27 days. And guess what's in front of the Vegas legislature currently? Wait for it. Wait for it. Nothing. Pat Summerall is in front of the Las Vegas legislature, the Nevada legislature. Nothing doing. 4th and 1. John Riggins. Nothing doing. Don't worry, they're going to put something in front of him next week. They're going to have plenty of time to review it, plenty of time for all the meetings. They're going to get all the financing done. Then they're going to play in the minor league stadium because the Coyotes did. It works perfectly. You can play in a 5,000-seat arena. No problem for revenue sharing. It's a piece of cake. Hey, Coca, I can't believe I don't know this. Is there a roof where the Las Vegas AAA team plays? There has to be, right? There's no way they play AAA in Vegas without a roof during the summer. I wonder if it's hot there when they play AAA during the summer. But don't worry, the A's would only have to play there for 2 years. No, 3 years. They're saying this building could be open by 27. NCTP. NCTP. You can't get a ballpark designed and built, fully financed, and done and ready to go by 27. Not going to happen. And they don't like opening in the middle of the season, so you're looking at 28. Trust me. And the lease runs out in Oakland Alameda Coliseum after 24, 25, 26, 27. 3 years, open air, Vegas. I've got 3 letters for you. N-O-T. Not. All right. I made a mistake 2 days ago. One of the things that I also tell you is I make mistakes because I'm talking to a live audience of 0. I don't see any of you, but you're here somewhere. You're on YouTube, Nothing Personal with David Samson. You may even be chatting with Coca right now when he's got 10 screens open trying to find out interesting things for me to say to see whether there's breaking news or any alerts happening during the course of the show. Wait a minute, I got one, Coca. David, get your groceries or snacks delivered to you. No, that's not one. I told you that we grade players on a 20 to 80 scale, and I said that 40 was average, and one of you pointed out that 40 is not average, it's 50. And I thought, wait a minute, I thought 40 was average, so I spoke to my old president of baseball operations. I said, did I forget what's average? He said, no, it's 50. I said, damn it. So, correction, you were right. 50 is average. Thank you. That's when we grade players on all their tools, and not like the hammer and the nail and the screwdriver. I'm talking hitting, throwing, defense, speed. 5 tools. Thank you for that. Luckily, we're back above 500. Nothing personal pick of the day. We had the Nuggets 5.5 over the Suns, as if that was going to be a loss. But Jokic and Ishbia pregame, making up, it put a little tear in my eye. Just a tiny little tear, watching them talk. Hey, I'm signed long-term here, but what do you think? I would like to play in Phoenix because the weather in Denver is so bad. I don't even know what to do with myself. I can't even be good in Denver because the weather's so bad. That was a win. Shane Bieber shut out the Tigers. We told you that was going to happen. We did lay 2-1, but you know what? It doesn't matter when you win. So we are 2-0. 71-70 going into tonight's games. I got a baseball pick. I got a basketball pick. I have the Blue Jays winning the AL East. That one may not be right. The Tampa Bay Rays, having lost last night, are on a tremendous losing streak. They've lost 1 in a row, I think. Their division lead is absolutely, where is it, Coca? I believe that they're now only half a game up in their division because the Yankees are so hot. Yeah, look at that. Let me put my glasses on. I don't want to read it wrong because I got it wrong last time. The Tampa Bay Rays are only 5.5 up on the Orioles and 7.5 up on the Blue Jays and 9 up on the Yankees. God, they're in peril. Let's go Blue Jays. They're playing the Phillies. Phillies are on fire. They are 17-19. They've won 2 in a row, 8 games back of Atlanta and a half game back of Miami. Terrible. But I'm still taking Wheeler over Gosman. Phillies minus 110 over the Blue Jays. Then I'm going to watch the Knicks Heat. I'm not choosing the game because I'm too annoyed. It's so like Miami to go into New York the way they went into Milwaukee and win a Game 5 on the road. It's so like New York to lose a Game 5 at home when they've been a great road team and they can't win on the road, and they're a fine home team, but now they won't be able to win at home, or maybe they will win at home. Either way, I'm not taking the game. Just not doing it. But the Warriors-Lakers? The Lakers, I just got an alert. Coca. We have breaking news. Anthony Davis, LeBron James have been told that they will be on minutes restriction, saving themselves for a Game 6 or 7. Wow, did the line move, Coca? I can't believe Greenberg got that right. I'm showing the Warriors a touchdown over the Lakers. Let's do that. Warriors 7 over Lakers. All right. I have a quick thing to teach you about relationships, and I grant you, I am not the authority on relationships by any stretch. Wait, breaking news. Breaking news. U.S. consumer prices rose 4.9%. Nope, not relevant. This is what happens during the show. The phone, all of this breaking news and notifications. Doctor, I'm calling you right after my next interview, I promise. We got to work on this. I'm exhausted. I'm responding to stuff at 3 in the morning like a total yutz. All right, here's my advice. When you date someone and you're famous, there's a really good chance it's not going to end well, and it's always better to plan it early. No one gets married planning to divorce. No one starts dating planning to break up. However, a little belt and suspenders is not the worst thing. Tiger Woods may or may not be delusional. He may or may not be the greatest golfer of all time. He is. He may or may not win another major again. He won't. He may or may not have more girlfriends or more wives. He will. But he's got a problem with his former girlfriend, and something came up yesterday that made me smile. Tiger Woods had a girlfriend, and she's now suing him. This part isn't funny. She's suing him for ending the relationship, for firing her from her job. She worked for him. Bad idea. Don't date someone who works for you. Don't crap where you eat. Never going to end well, I assure you. You don't want to do that. How many people in media, in huge executive jobs have had to leave because of relationships with people they work with. Those two people on Good Morning America Third Hour, I can't remember their names. They just had to resign. The guy at CNN had to resign because of a relationship he had with someone he was working with. I think Bill Gates had it. It happens everywhere. Why? Because that's who you're with. It's not like Tiger Woods is going around meeting people at an Applebee's. It's impossible to meet people if you're Tiger Woods. So you go around, you look at people who work for you and say, hey, do you mind signing this NDA? It's going to be very simple. The NDA just says that I don't want you to talk about anything you learn about me, personally and professionally, when we're having a personal and professional relationship, which means when we're in bed, when we're with the kids, when you see my plane or when you see my train, or even when you see my automobile, I would like it very much if you wouldn't say a word. And you're going to get whacked. The way famous people do it makes me smile. Tiger Woods had his lawyer break up with his girlfriend. What do you think of that? I don't have a poll. I don't have Juju. I could call it to Juju. Hey, Juju, put it on the poll. Do you want to be broken up with by your ex-boyfriend's lawyer? Or would you rather be broken up by your ex-boyfriend by Zoom himself? Can you imagine not having the cojones to do it yourself? You can still protect yourself legally. I flew places to fire people because I didn't want to do it by phone when I could. Sometimes you had to do it by phone. This was pre-Zoom, but all in all, you'd rather fly and do it face-to-face. I get it that he was unhappy with his girlfriend. Fine. It's all good. But this woman now is claiming some things that are not good. And she has some backup information too. She has some sort of threatening emails. So how does this end? Well, here's what happens. These lawsuits that get filed where you are trying to get money because that's all they're about. Sometimes they say it's about saving reputation. I'm trying to save face. Well, more times than not, it's, I used to live a certain way, and then you saved me, and I was living a different way, and now you don't love me anymore, or never did, or now you're sick of me, or now you found someone else, and I want to keep living the way I used to live with you. And you want me to live the way I used to live before you. I can't forget that I had you. How about a compromise? How about just a couple mil? I'm not asking for the world. It's not like we had kids together. I was willing to get that procedure. I'm just saying, some money. I'm not even meaning a private plane, but I'm not going back to fly Spirit. That's what prenups are for. That's what NDAs are for. It's what knowing the rules of engagement are before you engage. It's good to do in business. It's like signing on to be in a company and having no idea what your job description is and no idea how long it's going to last. That doesn't feel like a whole lot of protection, does it? In this world, my advice to you is to get as much protection as you can in every scenario. Because when you think that the bad is not going to happen, here's a news alert. Breaking on my phone. The bad generally happens. It may not be tomorrow, but it's likely to come in the days after tomorrow. And the person you're with, whether it's your boss, whether it's your lover, whether it's your spouse, they want to protect themselves and they want to make sure that they can move on, whether it's from your employment or your love, in a quick, easy, neat fashion. They have their best interests in mind, not yours, which is why you should have your best interests in mind and not theirs, which is why people may call you selfish. People may say, oh my God, I don't even want to think in terms of that. I could never think of something negative happening. I love you so. Let the wild rumpus begin. Well, they all end up back in your room with a hot dinner, don't they? Crying to your mom, wondering what went wrong, how it went wrong, and then wondering how you're going to turn your anger and frustration and embarrassment into money. Tiger Woods is going to have to settle this lawsuit, and he's going to have to pay money. Tiger Woods needs to get better advice, because here's the advice I would give him, and it's pretty simple. I appreciate your desire to roam the world like you are a frequent flyer member of Southwest. I get it. You want that. Go for it. That said, let's make sure that we button everything up before we even start. And I don't just mean NDAs, because not disclosing what you go through, that's one thing. Let's make it a business deal. Let's say that you pay the person you're with $100 grand a year, $500 grand a year, $10 grand a night. You pick it. And I'm not saying that she's an escort. I'm not saying that you're paying for love or paying for sex. I'm saying you're paying so that there's no trouble going forward, so that you don't get into these predicaments where there's embarrassment compounded with Ambien and golf clubs. And Tiger's not the only one. This happens every Mutton Gedonishtik to everybody, regardless of religion, creed, color, age, sex. You know why? Because when things like this happen, when relationships end, both personal and professional, it's just business. Yippee-ki-yay. See you tomorrow. This is Nothing Personal.